This is very unusual for me. I'm going to be showing you guys, for those of you who have Trainz New Era or something like that on the computer, how to make a custom horn. I figured it out recently. Been experimenting with it a lot, and it's actually pretty cool when you make it when you make it your own instead of just downloading one off the internet or from the download station or the content manager. Can iMovie not be slow right now? There we go. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is grab an audio file, or just grab a video with a good section of horn. So I've got to scroll through mine and find one. I've got a couple in mind. See, one I haven't done yet is the P3, so I'll get this ready. You guys can hear the sound. I just realized that, so I unplugged my headset, so this will be easier. Okay. Just making sure it's at a good volume. Okay. So you have to find a decent amount of horn. Like, make sure it's at least a second of horn if you want it to sound correct. So let's just go through it and make sure it sounds nice. That's a pretty good amount. Alright, now let's make it to sound just like a horn. Alright, now that it's just the horn, it'll be better. Alright, perfect. We'll work on the bell after we're done with the horn. So, just so I can find it easily, P3 demo is what I entitle the file. I save it into my document on my computer, which takes like 2 seconds. Okay, it's a 3-second clip of horn, so this should be nice. P3 demo. Once it's done exporting, which will take a couple seconds at maximum. I mean, unless your computer is that slow, but I doubt it'd be able to handle Trainz anyways if it was that slow. Alright, it's saved. Now we open our Finder. And we should see it right here. P3 demo. Now we open Audacity, which you need the software for this to work. You drag the file into Audacity, and then here it is. Here's the entire file. Now, we need to cut it into 3 sections. You have the horn start, the horn loop, and the horn end. For that to sound correctly, you need to do a couple things. First off, we need to get the horn start. That's usually within the first second of the horn. I usually do it in between 0.7 and 1. So let's see what it sounds like in this session. Alright, that's actually a pretty decent start off. This will all make sense once it's all done. So once you have your good horn start, you want to highlight everything after it. and then cut it. Just cut it out. You do the file, export, and make sure to export it as WAV, as WAV. Otherwise, it won't work with TANE or TRS or whatever you use. And then this will make sense once we're doing all the files and stuff. Make sure you do it the horn name so you can find it. Then you put horn underscore start. And then keep the .wav. Save it. Now that will be in our documents right over here. Now we're not going to touch it for now. We're going to go back up here. So we're going to click the undo button to get everything else back that we cut off, and then cut off the start. So now we only have the loop and the end that we need to do. It saves us a bit of time. Now we just need to find a good loop. The loop is usually at least 1.5 seconds, depending on how long the horn sample is, but you usually want it at least 1.5 seconds to 2 seconds. So let me go to the 2 second mark and see what this would sound like. Okay, it has a lot of change in it, but that's perfectly fine. So now we highlight everything after what we want to be the loop and cut it out. Now, unlike last time, shoot, I skipped a step. Alright, this is perfectly fine. Let me just, or actually, you know what? I'll keep that and I'll see if I can open a second one or something. I know exactly what to do. So make sure to do this on your horn start too. I completely forgot about this. This will make it so when you're in the game, when it's coming towards you, it'll do the Doppler effect. Otherwise, it'll just sound like it's right there, even if it's a mile away. So you click split stereo to mono, which I just did, which is why it won't show up, and then delete the bottom section. And then just keep the top. Okay. Now, we highlight the loop section, we copy it, and then we paste it again at the very end. And then up here at the top, you click Effect, and then reverse it. This, when you do it on loop, it won't just jump back to the beginning. It'll kind of bring its way back to the beginning, and then it'll kind of just go up and down with the horn the way Trainz do in real life. So now, just to hear like a kind of a test play, you hit transport, you go to the playing section, and you click loop play. And then stop it whenever you're done. And that's actually one of the best loops I've done. Normally they have like this weird snap in the middle. So that's good. Alright. File, export as WAV. And this time, since it's the horn loop, we do P3 horn underscore loop .wav. Save it. Alright. Now I'm gonna get the end back. Cut it. Split the stereo to mono. And then export this because the end is just the end. We already have that done. Yep, sounds something like that. Export as WAV. P3 horn underscore end. Alright, now I'm gonna get the start. Give me 1 second. I apologize, I forgot a step on the start. All I gotta do is click the open thingy, and then split the stereo to mono, and then delete the bottom section. I completely forgot to do that, I apologize. and then re-export it as WAV, and then just replace that file. Alright, now let's get that out of the way. Now let's work on the bell. The bell doesn't always have to be from the same specific locomotive. So, like, say, like, on this locomotive, it was passing by too fast for me to get a good audio of the bell. So now I open a separate project, and I just find a different, I just find a different unit that you can hear the bell clearly. This is going to take a minute because it's best, okay, so with the bells, it's best to find some that are stopped. Like if the locomotive is stopped and you can hear the bell ringing, that's best. Oh, you know what? I know where I have one. This one right here. Most of you will remember this one. It's the H1.5, the one with the K3L that I caught a couple months back. Alright, let's take a listen. Alright, yeah, there's a good bell in there. Let me just cut it to the section where it's just the bell, so give me a second. Alright, now let me copy and paste it just to kind of have a preview of what it sounds like. Alright, perfect. P3 bell demo. That's usually what I do. And then share project, you import it to your files. Oh, I forgot to mention this earlier. When importing it to your files... Okay, sorry, there was an interruption, so I had to cut something out. Okay, so when importing the video, I do it as MP3 because I know that's compatible with Mac. And I know WAV is too, but I just do it MP3 because I know that works with Audacity once I immediately put it in. I haven't tested with WAV, but I probably will eventually, and I'll post a separate video in case it does. Maybe. Okay, but you save it, you wait the couple seconds for it to import. There we go. And just minimize iMovie, or you can close it if you want. Get up your documents and Audacity. Get the bell demo. Put it in there. You split the stereo to mono. Get rid of the bottom so it'll Doppler. And then export it as a WAV again. You don't really need to change much. But then you make the name P3 or whatever horn you're making, idle space 1. This will make sense in a couple seconds. Then you can minimize that tab. All the files are ready except for one. Now you open up your Trainz, get a content manager page open, go into your today's section so you can actually check out what you're creating. Click on the developer thing at the very top, and then click new content. And it'll create a new asset which will show up in your content manager, and you can find it very easily on the today section when you use the filter. Right click on it and edit the config file text. Now this in my opinion is the hardest part to memorize, but after doing it a bunch of times you get used to it. So the KUID, that's already set for you. You don't need to mess with that. But then underneath that, you want to put the username of the horn. And make sure this is in quotation marks, otherwise it won't read it. This one will be BNSF C44-9W P3. And then below that, you put Trainz build. Whoops, I spelled build wrong. Haven't done that one yet. Alright. This one does not need to be in quotation marks. Do not put it in quotation marks, otherwise it will not be read correctly. You can do 3.4 or 3.5. I do it 3.4 because that's the file text of the other horns, and I just don't want to break the trend just in case. And then below this, you see the word kind. It's already in quotation marks, but change it from unknown to horn sound. That way it knows like how to use it. And then below that, we put 2 parts. Now, this is an important part. With the 2 part, if you make it 1, it'll just do the horn start. If you do 2, which is honestly the best option in most cases, it does the horn start and then the loop. And it'll keep doing the loop until you let go. And then if you do 3, it'll do the horn start, the horn loop until you let go, and then once you do let go, it'll play the end. The only reason I don't like doing that is because sometimes it just causes the horn to sound a little weird when you transition from anywhere in the loop to the end. So in most cases, it's best to do 2. But it's your option. It's your horn. And then after that, you do category class. And this is only for horns. Still working on some of the other stuff. Make sure it's in quotation marks, capital Z, capital H. Not sure what that's supposed to mean, to be honest, but that's Trainz for you. And then below that, you put thumbnails. Now this is optional, since I'm just too lazy to actually put a picture, and I don't have enough time to find a picture of the actual P3 or the locomotive or create a picture. You can just leave it blank like that. You don't have to put a thumbnail in there, but if you do, make sure that when you're putting all the files in there, the picture file is in there. Otherwise, the horn will not work. I'll tell you when to put it in there because you have to... It's kind of hard to explain unless I'm like showing you guys everything. So I'll explain that in just a second. And then lastly, the KUID table. This we leave blank because we have no KUIDs inserted into here. We have no other assets being inserted into the horn, making it sound or giving it stuff. So that we leave blank no matter what. And then this is optional. You can put a description. I do a lot just so like if I put these on the download station, which I most likely will, I make sure it's in quotation marks, but I put a description so you know what you're downloading. But often the username tells you, but like take the example for some of these. Like most of them are just K3HA, K3LA, SD70Mac, K3HA. You don't perfectly know exactly what you're downloading, especially on the ones that are just like very bland, like K3 BNSF, K3HA, K3LA. You don't know what you're downloading. So when you double click on it, you'll see down here that there's a description. And yes, this K3HA was actually recorded off of BNSF GEVO, but that's off topic. Anyways, so I'll give this one a description. A P3 recorded off of a BNSF-9. The bell came from a separate locomotive. Fits any -9, really. Alright, and then you submit the assets, or submit the edits, sorry. Submit the edits of the new asset. And then bam. But there's one last step. You open it, and you reveal it in Finder. or it might be something else on Windows. This is how to do it on a Mac. Okay, so this is where, if you want a thumbnail for the horn, this is where you need to put it. You have to have a picture of the horn in your files anywhere, whether it's in your documents or just somewhere in your photos. You just need to drag it in here. Otherwise, the horn will show up as faulty. Like, you know how when you download most horns, YOLO horns, how they're always faulty? You fix that by getting rid of the thumbnail section, leaving it blank. That's because the horn picture isn't in the folder. I was forgetting the word for a second. Alright, so now all we need to do is import the files. The horn start, the horn loop, the horn end, and the idle one. We're almost done here. There's one last step. For Trainz to be able to read the files properly, just get rid of the horn name before it and just rename them to just be horn end, horn loop, horn start, and idle one. Then submit the edits, close your Finder, and now let's test it on a locomotive. I'll put it on a -9. I'm not gonna put it on my JR one because that already has a good horn that I downloaded, and I don't feel like changing it right now. So I'll put it on one I downloaded from the download station. Okay. Now, for those of you who don't know how to change horns of locomotives, it's much easier to change it than to create one. So you right-click on the desired locomotive. You edit config file text in the open section. You find the horn sound line, and then you change the KUID from whatever that one was to the desired horn. And then it should save. Alright, now I'm going to load up TRS 2019 and test out the horn.